The distress beacon had been silent for 72 hours before the rescue team finally traced it to the uncharted moon of Vex 9. Commander Torres led the squad through the bioluminescent forest, their scanners cutting through the thick alien fog that clung to the ground like living smoke. Every member of the team knew the statistics. No human had survived more than 48 hours alone on this moon. The indigenous predators, the Vexan stalkers, were apex hunters that had claimed the lives of 3 colonial expeditions. Reading life signs ahead, Lieutenant Marsh whispered into his comm, his voice tight with tension. Human, still breathing. The team moved forward with weapons raised, expecting to find remains, perhaps bones scattered across the forest floor. What they found instead would be recorded in the annals of xenobiology as the most extraordinary human-alien interaction in recorded history. Selene Ward sat in a small clearing, her back against a massive tree trunk that glowed with soft purple veins. Her uniform was torn, dried blood stained her shoulder, and her dark hair was matted with mud. But none of that was what made the rescue team freeze in place. Surrounding her were 7 Vexian stalker cubs, their sleek bodies covered in midnight blue fur that rippled with bioluminescent patterns. They were curled against her legs, draped across her lap, one even nestled in the crook of her arm. She was humming softly, a melody that seemed to resonate with the very air around them. "Don't move," Torres breathed, but his warning came too late. The underbrush exploded with motion. Rakor emerged from the shadows like a living nightmare, 3 meters of pure predatory power, with 6 legs that moved with impossible grace and a head crowned with crystalline horns that refracted the forest's light into deadly rainbows. This was the Alpha, the pack leader, and every instinct screamed at the humans to run or fire. But something stopped them. Something impossible. Rakor's eyes, those intelligent, star-filled eyes that scientists had documented but never truly understood, locked onto Selene Ward. The massive creature moved forward, each step deliberate, controlled. The cubs stirred, chirping softly but not fleeing. Selene looked up at the approaching Alpha, her expression calm, almost serene. She should have been terrified. She should have been dead. The Alpha reached the clearing's edge. The rescue team's fingers tightened on their triggers. Torres's heart hammered against his ribs. This was the moment of attack, the inevitable strike that every colonial manual warned about. Rakor lowered its head. Not in aggression, not as a prelude to violence. The gesture was unmistakable submission, respect, acknowledgement. The Alpha's horns nearly touched the ground before Selene Ward, and a low, thrumming sound emerged from deep within its chest. It wasn't a growl. It was something else entirely. Selene slowly extended her hand, her movements careful but unafraid. She placed her palm on Rakor's snout, right between those deadly horns. The Alpha's eyes closed. The thrumming intensified, and suddenly the entire forest seemed to respond. The bioluminescent plants brightened, pulsing in rhythm with the sound. The cubs climbed over each other to press closer to both human and Alpha. "What the hell are we seeing?" Marsh whispered. Selene finally spoke, her voice hoarse but steady. "They're not monsters. They never were." She looked at the rescue team, and in her eyes was an understanding that transcended human knowledge. 3 days ago I crashed here, injured, helpless. I should have died within hours. She gently stroked Rakor's head. "But they found me. The cubs were curious, not aggressive. When I didn't attack, when I showed no fear, they accepted me." Rakor opened its eyes and lifted its head slightly, allowing Selene to scratch beneath its jaw. The gesture was so domestic, so familiar, that it shattered every preconception the rescue team had held. "The Alpha came on the 2nd day," Selene continued. "I thought that was the end, but it observed me. Watched how I interacted with the cubs. I sang to them just old Earth songs my mother taught me. And something in the melody, in the rhythm, spoke to them." She smiled, and it was the smile of someone who had witnessed a miracle. "They're empathic. The scientists got it all wrong. They don't hunt based on aggression or territory. They sense emotion, intention. All those colonists who died, they came with fear and weapons, and the stalkers responded to that threat." Torres slowly lowered his weapon, and one by one his team followed suit. Rakor's gaze tracked each movement, but the Alpha didn't tense. Instead, it moved closer to Selene, allowing the smallest cub to climb onto its back. "You're telling us," Torres said carefully. That these creatures, these apex predators, can sense human emotion? Not just sense it, Celine replied. They respond to it, they mirror it. I was injured, vulnerable, but I wasn't afraid. I was resigned, maybe peaceful, and they met me with curiosity instead of aggression. She looked at Rakor with genuine affection. This alpha could have killed me 1,000 times over. Instead, it brought food, it guarded me while I slept. It let me into its family. Rakor made that thrumming sound again, and this time Celine thrummed back, a remarkably accurate mimicry that made the cubs chirp excitedly. The alpha's expression, if such an alien face could have expression, seemed almost pleased. Humanity always assumed we'd conquer the stars through strength, Celine said softly, addressing both the rescue team and the alpha before her. But maybe our real gift isn't our weapons or our technology. Maybe it's our capacity for connection. Our ability to find common ground even with creatures we don't understand. Commander Torres found himself lowering to one knee, meeting Rakor's gaze with newfound respect. The alpha watched him, evaluated him, and then incredibly lowered its head again, this time toward Torres. Permission to approach? Torres asked Celine. Ask them, not me, she replied with a tired smile. Torres extended his hand slowly, palm up, non-threatening. Rakor sniffed his fingers, those star-filled eyes studying him with ancient intelligence. Then the alpha pressed its snout into his palm, accepting him. The rescue mission had become a first contact of a different kind. As Celine Ward stood with the help of her team, surrounded by the cubs she'd befriended, and watched over by the alpha, who had chosen to protect rather than destroy, humanity learned a lesson that would echo across every colony world. Sometimes the greatest strength isn't in domination, but in the courage to be vulnerable. Sometimes survival doesn't come from fighting, but from understanding. And sometimes the most dangerous predator in the universe will bow its head before a human who offers kindness instead of fear. Rakor watched the humans depart, Celine Ward walking slowly among them, occasionally looking back. The alpha knew she would return. Humans always did, once they understood. And this Celine Ward had done what no human before her had managed. She had seen beyond the teeth and claws to the family beneath. And in doing so, she had changed everything.